Welcome back, Soulful Society, to Soulful of Wellness,
the multi-generational podcast brought to you by two functional imperfectionists
and certified coaches
who deliver tips to live your most authentic, balanced, and anxiety-free life.
Improving self-esteem is a very personal journey. It's a key part of feeling happy within yourself and of feeling that you're succeeding in what matters.
Positive self-esteem helps you feel comfortable in your own skin, handle adversity, and believe that you'll succeed despite setbacks. It's an inner force that sustains you and gives you the courage you need to be the person you want to be.
But are you low-key undermining your self-esteem? In today's episode, we're talking what not to do as we discuss the 3 self-esteem sabotaging habits that you need to immediately halt. Thank you for joining us for another week at Soulful of Wellness. If you hadn't already, please hit that follow button as well as leaving us a rating and review. We would so appreciate you.
In today's episode, we're discussing 3 things that you might well be doing, not realizing that they're actually undermining your self-esteem. And of course, you'll want to quit ASAP. Then we'll wrap up this episode with an exercise to help you tap into your own self-worth.
We often are the person that's getting in our own way. And we want to be aware of when we're doing this to ourselves so that we can make sure that we're treating ourselves the way that we deserve.
So true. Sometimes I am my own worst enemy.
Me too.
Especially our first habit to halt. This is one that I am forever working on and I make progress on. And then I backslide into old habits and then I catch myself and I make some more progress.
I pretty much do all of these habits that we're going to list as well. So this is a great episode to build awareness.
So if you're listening, you might be a fellow imperfectionist, and the habit that you want to stop is the pursuit of perfection.
There's our first habit to halt, pursuit of perfection. And if you're a frequent listener and have been part of the Soulful Society for a while, you'll know that that's part of what we're about. That's actually mostly what we're about, besides anti-anxiety, is we are recovering perfectionists and we want to continue to build our imperfectionist community and flip it on its head.
Yeah.
As we learn how to navigate perfectionism, because it really
Absolutely.
does. That's like the definition of you getting in your own way.
Striving for the unachievable is a recipe for failure. So why do we keep doing it if we know we're doomed?
Well, it's a defense mechanism. It's how we self-protect. So by being perfect or close to it, we think that it's warding us off from guilt, judgment, shame.
If I can look perfect and project outwardly something that completely masks what I know inside is less than perfect, as long as other people are seeing something that looks cultivated and looks put together and pretty, like I have it going on.
I'm worthy.
Right, exactly. Then I get validation from these external sources telling me that I must be good enough. But it's kind of a house of cards because no one does everything beautifully and perfectly all the time. I always think it's about control. Like I want to control everything because I admittedly have some control issues. What I'm doing is actually counterproductive to my own success because I'm basing my feelings of self-worth at those times on others' feedback to me, others' perceptions of me, which I cannot control.
I had a coach once tell me something very profound. She said, it's more relatable to be imperfect. And I love that because it shows that human connection comes from relating to each other in those imperfect moments. You know, we're not bonding with people over things that, you know, we're all amazing at.
And I love that message because it's like, boom, done. I am so fully capable of being imperfect that great. If that helps others perceive me well, done.
I'm super excited to share the visioning exercise at the end of the episode because that's really going to help with this.
Yeah. If you are also an imperfectionist, forever with the intent of releasing those perfectionism tendencies, we have good news. It's okay to fail. You learn from your failures. They're how you know that you're branching out of your comfort zone. If you never made mistakes, you're not growing. You're not posing any challenges to yourself. If you're always successful, you're just living in that little microcosm of safe space.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of life is to grow and explore and discover new things. And intrinsic to that is sometimes you'll fall short of the goals you set for yourself.
Maybe challenge yourself this week to try and fail at one thing. Let's all do that.
I can hands down say that I'll do that. I'm going to focus on when it inevitably happens for me. I'm going to receive it well. I'm going to, we always say celebrate the wins. I'm going to celebrate the loss. I'm going to say, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
I'm celebrating this loss because I just learned some really good, valuable new information about myself that I can use going forward.
I love that.
And look, I'm fine.
Yeah. You flipped it on its head. And then, you come out of it like, okay, I'm fine. I survived.
Look, whatever I think the worst thing is, and this is a really good tool we use with our coaching clients, is to ask yourself, what am I afraid of here? What's holding me back? A lot of perfectionism is excuses to never really get started because you're not ready yet. You don't have all the information yet. You're not set up to do it perfectly yet. So you don't get started at all. And then you get frustrated with yourself and you're like, what the heck is wrong with me? Why aren't I'm doing nothing at this point? So ask yourself, what am I afraid of here?
Mm-hmm.
What am I getting held up on?
And start to build acceptance about the things that you have no control over. And this is very hard. I've been having a ton of difficulty with this lately, but it still helps to talk about the idea of building acceptance around there are things that are out of my control, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So put your energy on what you can change, and at the same time, release what you can't change. This will help you cultivate self-compassion, which is really what we're looking for when we are experiencing perfectionism tendencies.
Our second habit that you may well be doing, you might even be aware that it's undermining your self-esteem. Endless social media scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Derek Wertz, an associate professor of psychological science at the University of British Columbia, investigated the phenomena of social media scrolling, particularly with regard to what impact it has on our self-esteem. And no big shocker here, found out that behaviors like endless scrolling, comparing, finding yourself falling short versus what you're seeing is strongly associated with social comparison and reduced self-esteem.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants that for yourself? No one.
Nobody wants that. It's like the easiest way to jump into a portal of self-comparison, especially if you're not monitoring and editing, deleting, unfollowing the accounts that no longer serve you or do anything good for you. Ask yourself, why am I looking at this? Because we all know, I've had friends, we've talked about this, like, wow, when I exit out of the app, first of all, I didn't realize an hour went by. I was like sucked into this portal and my neck hurts. It's like, oh man. And then secondly, we've noticed, oh wow, I can feel a really pressing feeling of just negativity, maybe not able to identify it in the moment, but you're like, I don't feel great.
Right.
I don't feel great.
You're sitting there slumped over on your couch, feet up on the coffee table, sipping the Compeerschlager. Put down the Compeerschlager. You don't need to taste that. And you're right. It's that feeling coming over you and you're like, wait, why do I feel so yucky right now? Why do I feel so anxious right now? Well, it's because you've just spent the last 45 minutes looking at strangers' pretty pictures. What did that do for you?
Nothing.
Usually nothing good.
If you didn't have a purpose of why you were getting on there,
Yeah.
you're just going to doom scroll.
And it's so easy, even when you go on with purpose, to get sucked into that social media vortex. I mean, it's literally designed that way.
Oh, yeah.
To just keep you engaged, just from here to there, to there, to there. And oh, gosh.
Absolutely.
Next thing you know, it has been way longer than you ever intended.
We had an entire episode on this
Mm-hmm.
about, wellness technology. And we talked about that. That documentary on Netflix in particular is something that we cited. How this tech was designed to keep us on it as long as possible, and how smart artificial intelligence truly is, and algorithms. So there's no need for guilt here. There's no need for beating yourself up. It's just awareness, building that awareness and trying to halt the habit.
You need to give yourself tools. It's, our ADHD brains also, I think that's part of why the time can completely get away from us. But just know going in, okay, my intention is to spend 5 to 10 minutes, but I also know myself. And I know that it's extremely likely that 30 plus minutes from now, I'm suddenly going to realize that much time has passed. So I'm going to set an alarm before I even open it, just to keep myself in check.
That's a good one. That's a good one, setting an alarm. So be aware of this. There's science that's backing the fact that your social media scrolling is directly impacting your self-esteem in a really negative way. So dedicate time to what matters. Like, make sure you have time and energy for the priority items in your life. Usually social media scrolling is a numbing behavior, or we do it when we're bored, or it's a very mindless task. So in those moments, check in with yourself, set that alarm, and stop comparing.
Our third habit to halt is stop making it all about you. It's not always about you. In fact, most often it's probably really not about you at all. This will free you up from a lot of unnecessary anxiety. All that time you spent worrying about why someone hasn't gotten back to you yet. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? And then all these what if worries, when they're just out living their life and haven't even seen your message. And you're perseverating on what you did wrong to eternally piss this person off that they're not getting back to you. It has nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything.
Yeah, this is a really good rule of thumb to live by. It really frees you up. I think that's like the best way to put it. And I feel like the older you are, the more you mature, this is something that you tend to live by. That really, I can't help but say, frees yourself up. It really allows for open-mindedness and security of self.
I notice my own flaws. To me, they seem so obvious. They seem so glaring that I naturally assume that they're that obvious to everyone else, but they're not. For one thing, no one's looking that closely. So all that time where you're deciding what to wear to meet your friends for dinner and you're just not happy with it, and then you're in a bad mood because you don't like the outfit you settled on, and you've wasted all this time and energy. Meanwhile, nobody's really paying that much attention.
Definitely. It's such a good rule of thumb, because if you operate based on the notion that other people are mainly concerned with themselves, they're viewing the world through their personalized lens, and they're worried about themselves, it frees up space in your life to understand a person's behavior, or maybe accept that you don't understand a person's behavior, and like leave that room and that space for that mystery. Or leave that room and that space knowing very well in the back of your mind that's something going on with them, probably 9 times out of 10.
You didn't mess up. You didn't do anything wrong. The person's in no way upset with you. The person just has other stuff going on and isn't getting back to you.
So this behavior of yours is a signal to yourself that your self-esteem needs a little boosting. Because if your first thought is, what did I do? What's wrong with me?
Yeah, all this insecurity.
Girl, you got to boost yourself up. You are perfectly imperfect the way you are. You don't need to change anything, and everything's fine.
Safe to say if you actually did something wrong, you wouldn't be wondering if you did something wrong, what it might be. You'd probably have a pretty clear idea of what you did or said or didn't do that you were supposed to. If you're really just wondering what it could have been, it's probably not you at all.
So if you're finding yourself jumping to conclusions, blaming yourself, worried about your flaws, here are some tips to get you out of that headspace. So stop making it about you. Go volunteer, whether it's a homeless shelter, whether it's a nonprofit, a fundraising event. Get outside of yourself and try that.
Yes, do something nice for someone else. It takes the focus off you and it takes the onus off you. You don't have to fix it if it's not about you. And that's something that just makes me feel relief. Like, oh, wait, so I don't actually have any responsibility here. Okay, wait, I love that. That feels really good.
Definitely. Your feelings are yours, mine are mine. You'll come to me if there's a problem. Another way to get outside of yourself is animals. Like, take care of your pet. Focus on giving outwardly, like giving towards others. Even like you said, kid, if it's something really small, like sending your friend, like I've gotten Venmos for $5 for a coffee before, and it just made my day because, my best friend knew I was stressed. Like, that is so thoughtful and sweet.
Yeah, that's really cute.
Like, you can make someone's day with the littlest thing.
I really like that idea. Just a little like, hey, I'm thinking of you. It's not going to change their world, but it could change their mood.
Definitely.
All right, so we have prepared a little exercise for you. You're going to need to grab a piece of paper and something to write with, or not, especially if you're on a walk or driving a car. And you can always come back and do this again later when you do have something to write on. Take it, Kaylin.
I'm going to guide you through a visualization and reflection exercise designed by best-selling author and relationship expert, Dr. Margaret Paul. Feel free to take your time. Using your imagination, imagine an older, wiser aspect of yourself. This older, wiser self loves you unconditionally. Imagine that you are with your older, wiser self in a beautiful place in nature, sitting on grass or on a beach, maybe a picnic blanket. Take your time to be fully present in this beautiful place, using all your senses to see, feel, hear, and smell the nature. Imagine that you, as a very small child, are also with you, playing near you and your older, wiser self. Imagine that you can see you as a small child through the eyes of your older, wiser self, who loves you unconditionally. Write down what qualities you see in your little child. Qualities such as compassion, empathy, kindness, tenderness, loving, sensitivity, warmth, caring, patience, curiosity, playfulness, adventurousness, creativity, and so on. You can also write down special gifts that you've been given, such as musically gifted, artistically gifted, or scientifically gifted, or maybe gifted in dance or sports, and so on.
Tapping into these qualities that you've had throughout your entire life will allow you to build on your self-esteem and your competencies and your natural strengths.
That was so beautifully said, Kit.
Thank you.
Amazing. I thought that visualization was really heartwarming. I found it to be really positive because we don't often greet our wiser self. And I had shown you that video, Kit, remember a few weeks ago? And we'd forgotten to do it. I'm so glad that divine timing played a part here and reminded us to greet our older selves.
I love the idea of 3 versions of me, almost like
Yeah.
Christmas Carol, like me past, me
Yeah.
present, and me future, all getting together because we share so much in common, but it's so easy to lose track of parts of yourself throughout your life due to whatever is happening that's demanding some of your time and some of your attention. So I like reconnecting with the positives.
Mm-hmm.
What are the characteristics or qualities or traits that I really felt that I believed in myself at one point, but now I kind of miss? They're still there. They just don't feel as present because I've gotten too far from them. I want to reconnect with them. And then the future self, like I love that version of me has made so much more progress. And I like connecting with where I'm going in this big journey.
Mm-hmm. It's like you're tapping into all of your personal superpowers that you've had all along, and to see your older, wiser self having that beautiful perspective, looking at your inner child. I feel like it helped me cultivate gratitude for where I'm at right now, like present day.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no rush, there's no need to dwell in the past or rush into the future. Like all is well as is.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. You don't need to be there yet. You will be there. You obviously trust that you're going to be there. You're the one who visioned it for yourself, and you have utmost faith in yourself and your abilities that you will get there in time.
Mm-hmm. That's really what the exercise is about. You're building that faith in yourself as you're meeting your wiser self, and then you're looking towards your inner child, remembering all the freaking awesome qualities that you have.
Yeah, that you didn't have to develop or work on.
Mm-hmm.
They were there. They're part and parcel to you.
It's important that we are our own cheerleaders for our whole lives, no matter if we have a support network or a partner or our coach. Like at the end of the day, it's you and you, baby. So let's make that brain space a happy home.
Thank you for joining us again this week.
If you like this episode, share it with a friend, and we'll see you next week. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light.
The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers. So